Remember Horror Month? It's back!
This week we're covering the Texas Chainsaw Massacre films.
All of them.
I'm Donna Dekajlo.
I'm Michael Nixon.
And this
is Geek Crash Course! The Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a slasher film released in 1974, directed by Tobe Hooper, and is one of the most iconic slasher films ever made.
And as is customary during Geek Crash Course's Horror Month, it also spawned prequels, sequels, remakes, a video game, a comic book, most of which are questionable in quality at best.
Surprise. In a super normal premise to open the movie, a girl named Sally, her brother, and 3 of her friends decide to drive to the cemetery where their grandfather is buried to investigate claims of grave robbing and vandalism.
What do you do on the weekends?
That's a normal thing to do. They also decide to visit their family's old, abandoned-looking farmhouse for kicks because everybody's family has a creepy-looking murder building.
Oops. Spoilers! In their third poor choice before the antagonist is even introduced, the kids pick up a hitchhiker who kind of goes nuts and slashes both himself and Sally's brother with a razor. Excellent omen for the rest of the movie.
Because their car has run out of gas, and let's face it, these kids are just asking to be chopped into itty-bitty little pieces by a psycho killer, they decide to investigate a nearby house under the thin premise of looking for gas.
And the killing begins! We meet Leatherface, a psycho killer.
Found him!
Who wears masks made of human skin, is an inbred cannibal, and likes to kill people with chainsaws, sledgehammers, and meat hooks.
Leatherface kills some of the kids with a sledgehammer, a meat hook, and surprise, a chainsaw. We learn the hitchhiker from earlier in the movie is actually Leatherface's brother. There's a whole psychotic, inbred, murderous family that this unlucky group of kids stumbles upon, and Leatherface and the hitchhiker kidnap Sally, she escapes, the hitchhiker dies, and the movie ends with Leatherface menacingly waving his chainsaw around from lack of a perfect batting average for killing idiot teenagers. He was also a big fan of Say Anything, you know, just waving it around.
While the poster and most promotional materials reference the film as the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, with chainsaw as one word, the official film credits list it as Chainsaw, 2 words. The sequel takes place 13 years after the original film and opens with some drunk driving teenagers harassing a radio DJ using their car phone. Hey there, 1986.
Leatherface shows up and kills the kids, triggering the appearance of the oh so thinly connected Lieutenant Lefty Enright. I swear, that's his name. He's the uncle of Sally, the girl from movie number 1, and he's investigating mysterious chainsaw killings across Texas.
The radio tape of the drunk teenagers' murders by Leatherface is played on the radio, so Leatherface's whole crazy family shows up to murder the people at the radio station. Most of them die. The survivors follow the family back to their crazy murder shack. Good choices.
Really solid plan. The movie has kind of been off the rails since the opening credits, but involves a member of Leatherface's family named Chop Top, an employee of the radio station called Stretch, and a scene involving razor blades, a chainsaw fight, and a grenade. The movie culminates in Stretch taking a chainsaw from the mummified remains of Leatherface's grandmother and waving it about like you do.
Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 goes from the number 2 to the Roman numeral 3. I hate this and will not continue to talk about it.
We're done. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Next Generation opens on the Enterprise. I'm kidding. The opening of the film refers to the movies 2 and 3 as apparently unrelated incidents because, you know.
They're teenagers on the way home from their prom that are arguing about who's making out with whom when they wreck their car. While looking for help, they find Leatherface's house. A surprising number of murders mirror exactly what happened in the first movie. And they've taxidermied most of the old dead family from the earlier movies and set them up for a weirdo tea party.
A mysterious and creepy Agent Rothman shows up, licks the girl's face, then later saves her by decapitating one of Leatherface's family members with an Illuminati airplane. I swear, this happens. The whole murder experience was supposed to be spiritual, but went bad at some point, i.e. before the opening credits.
This goes almost entirely unexplained, and the movie ends with Leatherface yelling and swinging his chainsaw about. Seriously, guys, we're 4 movies in. There's gotta be another closing shot. Anything, really.
Texas Chainsaw 3D takes place between movies 1 and 2. I think we're getting a little fuzzy here. A girl named Heather learns she was adopted when her biological grandmother dies and leaves her a bunch of stuff in the will. This grandmother is coincidentally Leatherface's grandmother, and because they're all inbred, possibly his cousin, sister, and or great aunt twice removed. Whatever.
Heather and her friends take a road trip to collect the inheritance and pick up a hitchhiker along the way. Okay, time out. PSA time. Do not pick up hitchhikers. It will almost certainly lead to a gory, badly special effected death. Don't do it.
Think about it. All of Heather's friends are murdered, and Heather, knowing Leatherface is her only family left, besides the folks that adopted her and raised her to be a kind, normal, non-sociopathic, murdering young woman, saves Leatherface from the cops. The movie closes with the two of them living in super f***ed up familial bliss.
Prequel. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Beginning.
Why?
In 91 minutes of movie that make you feel as though you'd rather have your innards torn out by a meat hook rather than continue watching this film, we learn that Leatherface is a psycho murderer because his boss made him leave when the slaughterhouse he worked for closed. Leatherface's relatives were violently opposed to draft dodgers, and that Matt Bomer made some questionable acting choices early in his career.
Surprisingly, though, no hitchhikers. So they're either learning a lesson or, because it's a prequel, totally forgetting a really important lesson.
Gunnar Hansen, the actor playing Leatherface, with his 6'4" height and 3-inch heels, would constantly walk into door frames and other low-hanging objects as the Leatherface mask severely limited his peripheral vision. Watch the original movie.
Movie number 2 initially had some mixed reviews because it's a weird sort of horror comedy hybrid shot in a documentary style, but it's gained a cult following since its release, so give it a try.
Additional things we've learned this episode. Don't pick up hitchhikers.
Don't go to Texas, except Austin. Austin's nice.
And don't go poking around murder shanties.
Don't do that. Also, avoid movies 3, 4, and the prequel. Skip them. You're welcome.
Your mileage may vary on the 2003 remake. It has sexier visuals and updated references like going to a Lynyrd Skynyrd concert or driving to Mexico to buy pot.
I say again, updated? When the original film was first released, it was immediately banned in several countries, including the United Kingdom, which includes Scotland. Ding! What's your favorite terrible horror franchise? Let us know in the comments below, and remember to subscribe for more Geek Crash Course.
That's it for this week's episode on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
If you have any questions, you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, our website, geekcrashcourse.com, or at a bar, because we'll be drinking.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time
on Geek Crash Course.
Hang on one second.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
That sounds good.
Don't go anywhere.
I'm just going to think about, Texas. What do I think about Texas? I like the land and, the chainsaws and... Oh my God!